Thank you for hosting us. My name is Jenna Ludke. I am a director at the Rumi Forum. I direct programming and the Office for Interfaith and Intercultural Dialogue. So, very happy to be with you all this evening, and it's been a long time that we have had a very good relationship with your community. I don't know if you recall, but the Whirling Dervishes were here just a few years back, maybe a little more than a few years, but they were here and whirling in your main hall, and it was an absolute sight to be seen. I think probably a few of you were there. So at any rate, it's been a wonderfully long and good relationship we have had, and Rabbi Lustig is a dear friend. And so with that said, I would like to call Rabbi Bruce Lustig to the podium to say a few words.
I want to, first of all, thank the Rumi Forum for giving us this opportunity. I often tell the story that one of my best moments in Washington as a rabbi, and I want you to picture this. We're in the Senate caucus room, a beautiful ornate building that has seen so much history. And on behalf of the Rumi Forum, a first-generation Holocaust survivor child and a rabbi in Washington is presenting an award to a Muslim scholar. And so in that very moment encapsulates what I've known in my relationship with the Rumi Forum, is this understanding of bringing people together in the spirit of Gulen, in the spirit of the scholar Rumi, in the spirit of Islam. I wanted to take a moment and think about what we're doing tonight and its origins, because tonight in the Iftar is really all about hospitality. And we're being blessed by your hospitality this evening, and we welcome you into our house of worship to offer our hospitality. So where does the concept come from? It comes from our common father, Abraham. And I want you to think about this, because in Genesis 18, there's a great verse where it says, V'yira alav Adonai, and God appeared unto Abraham. And I want you to know it's very important to us that that is chapter 18, and I'll explain that in a little bit. But so in that very moment, God appears to Abraham, and in moments later, Abraham looks up, and what does Abraham see? Standing nitzavim, standing before him are three individuals. And Abraham turns to Sarah and makes a few comments about what to get, and Abraham rushes to those individuals and brings those individuals into his tent. He washes their feet, and he feeds them. And it's an important gesture because Abraham welcomes the stranger. And in our tradition in Judaism, haknasat orchim, the welcoming of the stranger, the welcoming of the guest or the stranger has paramount influence and importance. So much so in the Talmud it says that of welcoming a stranger supersedes the Beit HaMidrash, meaning study, and even goes even farther and supersedes the presence of the divine itself. It's very powerful. And it's a very important thing because we also know, and why is that so important to us as Jews? Because later on in Exodus we find, and repeatedly we find, that we are told that we are to welcome the stranger because we were once strangers in the land of Egypt. In Exodus 22, we find it says that you shall not oppress that stranger because you know the soul of that stranger. And so tonight we negate that situation because we know that we have an obligation to welcome each other. And what I want to take a moment and to think about is the contrast between what we're doing here tonight and when people don't take the opportunity to welcome strangers. On Friday night, in Hara, a young man who was obviously ill entered into a movie theater and indiscriminately treated people as not people but objects and killed them. And our hearts on this evening as we pray and welcome and go out to all those families and all those victims and all those people. But when there is not this imperative to welcome the stranger, we can do the opposite. We can hate the stranger. We can even go as far as killing the stranger. And at the beginning of June, we know it's not only violent acts that hurt and that are the opposite, but at the beginning, a United States government official, Representative Bachmann, used words to estrange. She used words that are so counter. And even worse in my eyes as a religious leader, she used them in the stance of saying that she was a good Christian. And she cast doubt upon the loyalty of people who I personally know and have worked with. And Jenna has, Iman Magid is a dear friend who is as loyal to this country as anyone I know, and whose works are a blessing. So tonight we come and we understand that as those and of a tradition that understands the soul of the stranger, when our brothers and sisters are negated that opportunity to be welcomed, it is something that hurts us and pains us as well. And what we do tonight is we teach the opposite, that we understand that by having the opportunity to welcome the guest, to share an iftar, that we negate and teach what Islam teaches, what Judaism teaches, that by love and opening our arms to each other, we can have a much greater power in this world and a much greater opportunity to create the world that was envisaged by God. So we welcome you. But I want you to remember that that verse that is said about Abraham, where the first time in Holy Scriptures it mentions Abraham being hospitable, is in chapter 18. And for us that is profound, because 18 means high. It is the Hebrew letters that mean life. And so that we know by welcoming each other with open arms and love, we give life to what God wishes for us. We give life, and may you, during this fast of Ramadan, be blessed by your openness, by your love, by your welcoming of all communities of faith. And may you go from strength to strength. We really appreciate the honor and the privilege to not only share this iftar with the Rumi Forum, but to having shared almost a decade of interaction with a group of people that stand, as we do, for love, for justice, for peace, and for blessing. Thank you and welcome.
Thank you so much. Now I would like to ask the president of the Rumi Forum, Mr. Emre Çelik, to come and say a few words.
Rabbi, distinguished guests, it is a pleasure to be amongst you, to be breaking bread soon. And I just want to add to the Rabbi, of course, I can't repeat, he said very meaningful words. But the raison d'être, the meaning of our existence, the meaning of the universe for the Muslim, for believers, is love. Each and every one of us is a veil that depicts the majesty, the beauty of the Creator. So in each and every one of us, we are reflections of the beauty of the Creator of this universe. So this is a very important and pertinent point that we need to recall when we're viewing others, that they are reflections of the majesty that is God. Very important. And within Ramadan, these are very important concepts by which the Muslim, the believer, reflects upon. That we are, in actual fact, veils that represent this majesty. The Rumi Forum has been in existence for the last 13 years. I've had the pleasure of being associated for the last 3 years, and had the pleasure, actually in my first few months, to have met the Rabbi, and we continue to this day now our dialogue directly and through Jenna. The Rumi Forum is dedicated to increasing understanding between all communities, whether of faith or without faith, whether they're secular or of belief, people of all different worldviews, to increase understanding, to overcome the bigotry that unfortunately can exist. Our core enemy and our shared enemy is in fact ignorance. Many times this ignorance is innocent ignorance. People just don't know. People have not had the opportunity to interact with others. The best ways by which we can learn is interaction. But when we live in some communities that are quite homogeneous, or through prejudices outside of the control of the individual, through the environment, through family, people are raised in a certain manner. So we need to, as people that are proactive, that understand the virtue of coming together, do our utmost to be able to bring those people into the light, particularly those that are innocent, particularly to join the good work that is communicated through communities like yourselves, through the Turkish American Muslim community, and through others. So I thank you for hosting us. It is a pleasure and an honor. I thank the Rabbi and the executive committee and the members of this congregation. We look forward to further continued dialogue. It is a blessing in coming together. It is a blessing in following in the tradition of Abraham, and that, I believe, is what we are doing so well tonight. Thank you. I believe, just by way of a brief introduction, I didn't say too much about the forum, but we've got a few minutes by way of video. So thank you again. Have a most blessed evening.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is about that time, but just before we do so, break the fast, I would like to introduce Bilal Kaya. He is the director of the Institute for Islamic and Turkish Studies in Fairfax City. And so please welcome him. He's worked with us greatly. It's a sister organization of the Rumi Forum, and he knows Rabbi Lustig very well.
And also
Yes.
Imam of the
And
community.
Imam of the community as well. So yes, he has credentials. Yes.
Thank you, Jenna. Good evening, everyone. As Jenna introduced, my name is Bilal Ankaya, and I'm the Imam of Turkish community. I would like to say a couple of words about Ramadan and fasting during the month of Ramadan. Ramadan is the month that we fast, and this fasting is actually prescribed by God. As Muslims, we need to fast, and of course, the main reason for fasting is because God wants us to fast. But behind that, there are wisdoms behind the fasting. And one of the wisdom is by staying hungry and thirsty all day, we sort of understand the situation that the hungry people and needy people are in. And that's one of the benefits, one of the wisdom behind the fasting. And the second wisdom is that for us to understand that everything we have, everything we earn in this world is not ours actually. And excuse me. And by realizing that, we understand that whatever we have in this world does not belong to us. Actually, everything belongs to God. And that puts us into a discipline of our psychology, our spirit. So in a very brief explanation, these are the benefits of the fasting. When it comes to the fasting itself, since the days are longer around this time of the year, it starts with dawn and it goes until the sunset. And between these times, we are not allowed to eat anything. We are not allowed to drink anything. We are not allowed to, if someone smokes, smoke anything. and also we need to stay away from the worldly desires. So by doing so, again, we are disciplining ourselves, and we are understanding that whatever we have actually does not belong to us, but God. Without further ado, it is time. Should I call the adhan or? Okay. So I'll just do the call for the prayer, and have everybody start eating. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة. حي على الصلاة. حي على الفلاح. حي على الفلاح. الله أكبر، الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله. Thank you.
Okay. The dates in the middle of the table. This is a traditional way of breaking the fast. Probably has something to do with blood sugar. But it was the way that the Prophet Muhammad broke his fast, and so as a way of practicing what he practiced, Muslims typically break with a date, and also water, obviously. So you can start with that, and then I would like to ask the ladies, if all the ladies can please begin in the room, and then gentlemen follow. And we have some very wonderful Turkish delights, if you will, from our volunteers who have made some Turkish food. So please do enjoy, and we'll see you here back a little later.